they dematerialize and they materialize somewhere and they dematerialize. You think they did something like that? I said, nothing like that. In came Jesus. The doors being shut. That doesn't mean he came in through the keyhole. You know, like this, you see sometime in films, they show you, the smoke coming out and materializing into a genie. No. He didn't say he, through the crevice in the wall, he crept through. Nothing of the kind. The doors were shut. This was a mansion. My humble home in Verulam, we've got 4 entrances, my humble home. This is the mansion, an upper room. Surely there were other rooms, other ways and means of getting into that house. I don't know how these brothers got there. I don't know how they got there. Look at them. Look. How did they get there? I don't know. But there must be a way. They don't materialize and dematerialize from there. There must be a way. I don't know. So in that upper room he goes in, and the doors were shut, and they're terrified. The disciples got terrified. I'm asking, why were they terrified? When you meet your long-lost master, your uncle, your grandfather, we Eastern people, we embrace one another, we kiss one another. Why should the disciples of Jesus be terrified? So Luke tells us that they were affrighted because they thought he was a spirit. Luke chapter 24 verse 37. They thought he was a spirit. I'm asking, did he look like a spirit? They said no. Then I said, why should they think the man is a spirit when he didn't look like one? Puzzled. As I tell you why. You see, the disciples of Jesus, they had heard from hearsay that the master was hanged on the cross. They had heard from hearsay, Suni hui baat, what they had heard, that he was hanged on the cross, that he had given up the ghost, he had died. And now he's dead and buried for 3 days. A man with such a reputation, you expect him to be stinking in his grave. Such a person, when you see, naturally you are terrified. See the reason why they are terrified? Because they were not there. They were not eyewitnesses or your witness to the happenings. Because Mark chapter 14 verse 50, he says, for all his disciples forsook him and fled. Tu had almal hum farlat and khaflach. Almal. I'm asking the Afrikaner, does almal mean almal in your language? Does it mean all? You Englishmen, does all mean all in your language? You Zulu, does bonke mean bonke in your language? I said yes. So they were not there. All the knowledge was from hearsay, what they had heard. So now they are terrified. They think he's a ghost. So Jesus wants to assure them that is not what they're thinking. They're thinking he's a ghost. He's come back from the dead. So he says, cake na me hand and me footer. Cake. Have a look at my hands and my feet. Want that it is excel, that it is I myself. I am the same fellow man. Damn fools, what are you afraid of me for? Fool on me and cake. Handle me and see. Want a chiasat ni flesh and beer na, soos julle sien dat ek het nie. For a spirit has no flesh and bones, as you see me have. So if I got flesh and bones, in that case, I'm not a spirit, I'm not a ghost, I'm not a spook. I said, is that what it means in your language, you Englishman? He said, yes. And you Afrikaner? He said, yes. And you Arab? He said, unzuru ila yadayya wa rijlayya. He says, behold my hands and my feet. Inni ana huwa, that it is I myself. Husuni wanzuru, say, handle me and see. Fa inna ruha laysa lahu lahmun wa izamun. For a spirit has no flesh and bones. In any language, every language, it is so simple and straightforward. But how people can be programmed, brainwashed. People can be brainwashed. We too. We must be on guard. People can be brainwashed. They're reading something and seeing something else. They're not seeing what is there. They're reading something in their own mother tongue, and then somebody is making them to understand just the opposite of what they're reading. Just exact opposite. Not what is written there, but opposite. He said a spirit has no flesh and bones. They say spirit has flesh and bones. Funny? Jesus said a spirit has no flesh and bones. In other words, he's not resurrected. He's telling them that he's not resurrected because the resurrected bodies get spiritualized. So the clever fellow says, who says so? I said, Jesus. You say, where? I said, Luke chapter 20, verse 36. We were talking about 24, 36. Go back 4 chapters, you'll find it there. What Jesus says. So what does he say? I say, you know, the Jews, we're always coming to Jesus with poses and riddles. Want to make a fool of him. Want to make a mockery of him. Now they come to him, they said, Master, in the Hebrew language, Rabbi, like Sheikh, Imam, Master, Rabbi. Maulvi Sahib, Maulana. Says there was a woman among us, a Jewess, and that woman had 7 husbands. 7 husbands she had, according to a Jewish practice. You see, the Jews, they had a custom that if one brother died, and if he had no left no offspring, then the second fellow takes a wife. And when he fails, the third. And when that guy fails, the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and the seventh. 7 guys had this one woman, one after another. But there was no problem, because it was one by one. Now they want to know from Jesus that at the resurrection, Yawm al-Qiyamah, when everybody wakes up same time, from Adam to eternity, then 7 brothers also waking up same time, and they see this woman, they say, Mefro. Everybody say, Mefro. There's a war in heaven between the brothers. This is mine. The other guy says, this is mine. There's a fight, 7 brothers, because they all had her. They want to have her on the other side. So they want to know which guy is going to have her on the other side, because they all had her here. This is what the Bible says. They all had her here, so they want to have her on the other side. Which guy is going to have him? Who will be entitled to have her on the other side? In answer to that, Jesus says, neither shall they die anymore. Once they are resurrected, they will be immortalized. This is a mortal body which has got its mortal needs: food, shelter, clothing, sex, rest. Without these things, no Indians left, no Afrikaners left, no Malays left, nothing. That body will be an immortal body. No food, no shelter, no clothing, no sex, no rest. He said, neither shall they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels, meaning they will be angelized, they will be spiritualized, they will be spiritual creatures, they will be spirits. For they are equal unto the angels and the children of God. Such are the children of the resurrection, spirits. He says, want hier sit nie vlees en bene soos julle sien dat ek het nie. A spirit has no flesh and bones. I'm not resurrected. Can't you see? Simple, basic knowledge. Why does he have to convince anybody that a spirit has no flesh and bones? You don't have to prove it to an atheist, to an agnostic, to a Hindu, to a Jew, anybody, everybody. We believe that the spirits have no flesh and bones. Because they are thinking he is a spirit. He's come back from the dead. So he's telling, I'm not that. Can't you see, you fools? What's wrong with you? And they believe not for joy. They are overjoyed and wondered. What happened? So he says, have you here any meat, something to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and a honeycomb. And he had dit chanium and voor hulle oë geëet. And he took it and he ate in the very sight, as if to prove what? There is a ghost, there is a spirit, that is resurrected. Resurrected bodies eat broiled fish and honeycomb, do they? He's proving to you, I'm the same fellow man. What's wrong with you fools? Look, Mary Magdalene says he was alive. You know, the other disciples, when they said, look, he's alive. They said, and they believe not. Now these 10, they tell Thomas. Thomas wasn't there. They said, look, the master was here, and he ate with us, broiled fish and honeycomb. He says, I will not believe. What will he not believe? Imagine, this doubting Thomas. He's become famous for doubting. Thomas was his name. He said, I will not believe. Why won't he believe? Because they're telling him he's the living Jesus. He's alive, not his ghost. If he said, look, we saw the ghost of Jesus. They see them every day. In those days, they're seeing them every day. No, they're not talking about ghost, about spook, about spirits. They're talking about him, himself, the man eating broiled fish and honeycomb. He said, I will not believe. 8 days later, Jesus comes again. Now he sees this guy. Thomas says, hey, Thomas, come. Reach hither thy finger and behold my hands, and put your hand into my side and don't be faithless. Now he realizes what a fool he was. So he says, my God, my Lord. So now the Christians say he recognized that Jesus is his God and his Lord. Imagine, you know, you exclaim, you go and report me to the special branch that Deedat was preaching communism here to you all, communism. So they come along, harass me, they give me trouble, and they tell me eventually, he says, you know, he says, look, it's your friend, man. Who? Mr. Muhammad. He said, he is the guy who was, you know, prodding us. So when I meet him, his broad smiling face, my benefactor, my friend, I say, Sali, my God, what a thing to do. Sali, my God. He is my God? I say, Sali, Allah, what a thing you have done. Sali, Allah, you Allah. What's wrong with you people? This is an exclamation. What a fool that I was, man. The 10 disciples